right, we are here. Drew T. Jackson, coaching, speaking, and training. Thank you for joining the podcast today. We are on part 2 of our interview with Christopher A. Jones. He was sharing with us this very important concept of education. He is someone who has his doctorate, is completing his doctorate in education with a focus on leadership. So he is just the person to talk about these issues of education. All of us have an area of interest in the arena of education with family members, nieces, nephews, cousins, children of our own that are in the education realm. And we have been talking about how some of the changes that we need to make in the education world and transferring from insane to being humane and looking out for our brothers and sisters, changing the software that we operate with. And with that, I cut Mr. Jones off. So I'm going to ask you, if you can, go ahead and hop in with your thought that you were going to share with us just a moment ago on the end of the last podcast. Go ahead, jump in.
Yes. When we were talking about the mindset sometimes needs to be reprogrammed. See, because perception is reality.
That's right.
What you perceive is your reality.
Mm-hmm.
What I perceive is my reality. And so when perceptions are individuals' realities and they're different,
mm-hmm.
how do they become reprogrammed? That's a great question.
That is a great question. I wish I would have asked it.
It's a great question simply because in order for a human brain to be reprogrammed, it has to be, number one, willing, in my opinion. And it has to be able to see something differently in order for it to change. Now, if you're programmed in terms of a street mentality, how do you become something that you've never seen? It's very hard to become what you've never seen, is what my mentor, Dr. Malone, would say. It's hard to become what you never see. So
that's good.
You have to be a visible manifestation by being present. So, Mr. Jones, how do you carry yourself at school? I typically wear a shirt and tie every day. Why? Because I'm a leader. I'm an African-American male. So if I see students who typically don't see men or father figures with shirt and ties on, or a sport coat on, or a suit on, how can they see a visible difference? Or if young ladies don't see a father figure in their lives who may have had a background other than a criminal activity or a background other than corporate America, there's different backgrounds that people may have. And so if I give them a different light and a different exposure, then that could potentially spark an interest.
That's so
so
good.
I'm showing them something different by carrying myself differently. And so that is a portion of the way to start reframing and changing how people see, as well as how people view, as well as how people think. See, because when you change how a person begins to think, if you change how a person begins to engage, if you change how a person begins to interact with someone, then you potentially open up that person's life, open up their mindset, and open up their world.
Yeah.
See, we had an opportunity to take a group of children to an out-of-state field trip. And so throughout our city, we had to get on the interstate and take them to another state. And in our state, we have a river.
Okay.
And this particular river is a body of water. And so students who were riding the bus as we were traveling thought that that body of water within my city was an ocean. And that body of water was not an ocean, but it was a river. And so how can you live within your own city and not be exposed to the body of water within your city?
Wow.
So that's kind of struck me. So if they don't understand the body of water in their city is a river, what do they think an ocean truly is?
Yeah.
How come they don't understand what a river is? Have they ever seen a river? In most cases, they have not. And
Wow.
so, in many cases, what that showed me is many people cannot see beyond their streets.
Mm.
So, if I can expose you beyond your street, beyond your environment, just a glimpse, just a snippet, then I can potentially help change your view and change your world.
Wow. That's powerful. That is powerful. I mean, just the visual that you gave us with the mentality of beyond the streets or beyond my street or beyond my block. Um, the idea that there are kids that their families don't go on vacations out of state or even hours away in another city on a regular basis. For me, that was a part of my normal growing up,
Yes.
is that we would go quarterly to the ocean, and experience that. And that's a lot of what you're talking about. Experience it, seeing it, hearing the sounds, experiencing the feelings of what it feels like to see an ocean, or to see an office building where people dress. And so part of what you're doing, because this is something you're in leadership, and really you already hit it. The question I was going to ask you is how does leadership play a role in this? And you talked about it. You are leading in how you conduct yourself, how you speak. So you're giving them an audible understanding of what it sounds like to be an educated person. You are giving them a visual, and you are very well dressed. Everywhere. I know the viewers maybe can't necessarily see it, but you got a great bow tie on there, collared shirt, looking sharp. You're in an elementary school and you're doing this. You're going into an elementary school, conducting yourself in a way that says you can let me place some desire in your heart of something to reach towards and something to move towards and something that you can say, this is a worthy ideal to move towards. And then you carry yourself in a way where they say, I like how I feel when I'm around Dr. Jones. He makes me feel like I can be more, do more, say more with my life. And you're giving them all those components and truly leading in that way within your place of influence. And I think that's powerful for all of the listeners to understand that there are ways that they can lead within their sphere of influence that they find themselves in right now. And you don't have to wait until one day, someday to do it. You can begin doing that right now.
And can I piggyback on something?
Go for it. Yes.
Another component to the leadership and the education piece, Drew, is that you have to engage in cultural competency.
Okay. Explain that.
Cultural competency, cultural awareness, because in many cases, the teachers who teach are taking the trips, are going on vacations, but in many cases, their students are not. So when they write their students off, in some cases, not every case, then they truly don't understand that student. So it's hard to develop that relationship as authentically as you would like to in order to reach and to teach that student long term to help his or her development.
Okay.
And so if I better understood your circumstances or situations, then I may look at you with more compassion. So I think that if teachers did home visits with even other teachers, they would not necessarily be fearful or afraid. I believe that students should be able to be who they are, but also be challenged not to stay where they are. But the teachers shouldn't just remain who they are and not be willing to change to meet the students where they are based on fear or lack of understanding. Because our people are destroyed for lack of knowledge, right? Yeah. And so in many cases, because I'm willing to get to the heart and the root of the problems within my school and my students, then I learned so much about what's really going on in the home and in the community and in their mindsets. And at the end of the day, a lot of them just want love. A lot of them just want to be heard.
Yeah.
Not hollered at, but heard.
Yeah.
You know, and so even when I have to talk to a student or several students, you know, I'll whisper in their ear and say, just meet me in the hallway.
Yeah.
You know, let's go for a meeting. Let's have a meeting. Let's walk and talk. So I'll walk along the side of them because I don't want to appear confrontational.
Yeah.
See, I don't have to look down upon them because they're smaller than me. Or sometimes I might sit in a chair and we might sit eye to eye across from each other or side by side because it's about building that relationship with that student.
Yeah.
And so it's really, you know, many people have mothers and fathers and some don't. Some have been raised by their grandparents, their aunts and uncles, their cousins, or even some are in foster care, some are adopted. Whatever their circumstance or their background is, at the end of the day, whether they have a mother, father, sister, brother, whoever raised them, at the end of the day, if they don't have any of that, let me tell you what everybody needs. Everybody needs an encourager.
Oh, absolutely.
Everybody needs a coach.
Yes.
See, I can have a mother, I can have a father, I can have a sister, I can have a brother, I can have all the aunts and all the uncles and all the cousins. But if no one encourages me,
You
then I feel alone.
Yeah.
If no one encourages me, I feel alone.
Yeah.
If no one supports me or believes in me, I feel alone. And so what a coach does is a coach, in terms of how I navigate through the process in some cases, in many cases, is I try to encourage that student in 3 levels with the 3 E's. I equip them, I empower them, and I encourage them. I equip them, I empower them, and I encourage them.
That's good.
And so as I equip them, empower them, and encourage them, that helps strengthen and build that relationship. And so from a coach standpoint, they confide in me. From a coach standpoint, I'm a confidant. From a coach standpoint, I am a natural encourager, and they trust me.
Yeah.
And because they trust me, then we have that relationship. So then they'll do things for me that they won't do for their teacher, who's their homeroom teacher, because I also do behavior coaching within my school.
Wow.
Because I built relationships.
Yeah.
So I work with not only the 5th graders, I work with the entire school. And so because I'm being gifted in that ability, I have the wonderful pleasure to work with the entire school building.
Wow.
And so a lot of students would do things for Mr. Jones that they won't even do for their regular teacher because their relationship has not fully been established. So the key is to build authentic, real relationships as well as listen. We have to be active listeners. You can't listen and talk at the same time.
Absolutely.
See, I waited for you to say absolutely because I felt like I was going to have some feedback. And so because I felt like I was going to have some feedback, I waited and I listened for the absolutely. And it came. But if you're talking and I'm talking, then we're both just talking.
Yeah.
But we're not actively listening. And so we have to, as adults, as leaders, we have to be active listeners. Because leadership, as my mentor states, Dr. John Maxwell, leadership is influence.
Yeah.
And so how can you influence somebody in a positive way that you won't listen to? People don't want to follow someone who doesn't listen to them.
Yeah.
People want to listen, and people are willing to go where the leader is willing to take them because they trust them, because they believe in them, and they know that if they don't follow that leader, potentially they won't get out of the situation that they're in. See, I want to help take people where they want to go.
Yeah.
I don't want to tell you where you want to go. I want to help you get to where you want to go, because if I tell you where you want to go or where you ought to go, then that makes me a controller.
Yeah.
And that goes back to the point that we made in the first session. We can't control people, we can't control people, circumstances, situations, or outcome. Dr. Henry Cloud says in his book, The One Life. But we can control how we respond to people, circumstances, situations, and outcomes. So my goal as your leader, or my goal as the leader, is to find out where the students, where the staff, where the coachees want to go.
Yeah.
And help them to get there. See, because if I can help you to get half of where you want to go, if not all the way, you might be the next person to help them get to the next part of the way. But did I do my part along the journey?
Yeah.
And that's very important. Did we do our part along the journey? Influence is leadership. Leadership is influence.
Yeah.
And so how can we make a significant impact influencing people in a positive manner and getting them on the same sheet of music to make our organization better, our school better, our society better, our infrastructure better, as well as get them where they want to be? See, because when you help people get them to where they want to be, then the organization becomes better.
Yeah.
You know?
Absolutely.
And so even in your last employment opportunity, your infrastructure was built in place to help you to get better. And guess what? You have your own podcast, you're an entrepreneur, and you're doing next level things. Why? Because the infrastructure was there to help support you to become the better person, the better man that you feel called and led to be.
That's great.
And so because you had a wonderful leader at your past organization
That's right.
to help push you to the next level of greatness, then you're naturally going to soar.
Yeah. That's good.
And that's how leaders lead, with positive influence.
Yeah.
See, a leader who leads with negative influence can stifle and crush dreams. But I'm glad that we've had leaders and mentors to push us to the next level of greatness within ourselves. See, because as the leaders who we surround ourselves with push us to the next level of greatness, then we have a responsibility. We have an accountability within ourselves to raise up future leaders to help them to get to the next level because someone did it for us. And that goes back to my point that we said in the first initial podcast. We can't do this thing in isolation.
Yeah.
We can't do this thing in silos. It takes you, it takes me, it takes each other. There's no I in team.
That's right.
But there is an I in win. And together, if we work together, we will win.
That is great. That is great. Wow. You know, I think we might need to do an entire training for educators. You know, I always think of the name. I like to think of the name, but leading in context. And you had talked about being competent on the culturally competent. And I think that would be a great training. We're going to have to collaborate on and do some leadership and competence training. Just put it out there on YouTube for free for educators to get a hold of with your experiences and your education and what you've learned in those areas. I want to move through a couple more things real quick. And there's so much. Once again, we're going to do this again. This isn't one time. Those of you listening, I know you're having a great time listening to Christopher A. Jones and we're going to continue to have him on and collaborate on things in the future. But I do want to get a couple more questions in here before we sign off today. All right, so you had mentioned Dr. John Maxwell as being a mentor of both of ours and someone who's impacted our life, but you also have someone else who's impacted your life, and I really didn't know of him until you had shared him with me. Dr. Eric Thomas is an inspiration to you. What's your favorite quote or illustration from Dr. I know this could be a whole nother podcast, but we'll try to limit it. What's your favorite quote or illustration from Dr. Thomas?
Dr. Eric Thomas, the one and only, phenomenal motivator, extraordinaire, but most importantly, servant of the Most High.
Yeah.
He is a leader extraordinaire who encourages, who equips, who empowers people all over the world. And he shared this story many years ago, and I never forgot this story. And he talks about a guru, and the quote that is lasting and impactful. He said, the guru said, when you want to succeed as bad as you want to breathe, then you will be successful.
Wow.
When you want to succeed as bad as you want to breathe, then you will be successful. Because the story basically talks about a guy who wants to succeed. So the guru tells him to come out into the ocean. So he goes out into the ocean. He says, well, you're not deep enough. So he takes him out deeper and deeper. And he says, this is stupid. This is crazy. This is ridiculous. I'm going back. I'm just paraphrasing it. I'm not saying it word by word, word for word. And so then the guru dips this guy's head underwater. And he says, when you were underwater, what did you want to do? He said, I wanted to breathe. Then he raised the guy's head up. He said, when you want to succeed as bad as you want to breathe, then you will be successful. Wow. And so that statement was impactful and changed my life. And Dr. Eric Thomas has many phrases that challenge me and empower me and inspire me daily that I share with my students on a regular basis. No alarm clock, no alarm clock, and just stay ready, and just many different avenues that he talks on and speaks on. And so, but that when you want to succeed as bad as you want to breathe, then you'll be successful. And so even on my journey, I think about that one day at a time, one step at a time. When you want to succeed as bad as you want to breathe, then you'll be successful. And so just this past few months ago, Dr. Eric Thomas did a 100-day challenge. He was challenging individuals to change a habit in 100 days. Do something for 100 days.
This is so cool.
And I said, wow, what could I do for 100 days that would challenge me to become better? And so, as you know, Drew, I talked to you earlier this summer about losing weight. And so at one point, and I'm sharing this with the world, at one point I was almost 500 pounds. Many people don't know that, but I was almost 500 pounds. And so, thank the Lord that I didn't have high blood pressure. I didn't have sugar diabetes. I didn't have hypertension. I didn't have any of those ailments. As I was on the cusp of 500 pounds. And so since this summer, I've lost nearly 100 pounds.
Come on. That's fantastic, man.
And so I want to attribute even some of that to Dr. Eric Thomas on this challenge that he proposed. Each person had to develop their own challenge. And so what I did for my 100-day challenge is I challenged myself to walk, run, jog 500 miles in 100 days. 500 miles in 100 days. And so my journey started on September the 17th. and it ended on Christmas Eve, December the 24th. So each and every day for 100 days, I jogged, I walked, I ran 100 miles. No, excuse me, I did 500 miles in 100 days. Now, I logged it every day. Now, there was only 3 days that I did not walk, run, or jog those 5 miles.
Okay.
So the 3 days that I rested, the following day, I did 10 miles.
Wow.
Because I did not want to disrupt my challenge.
Yeah.
And quit. But my body needed rest because I got sick with a cold one day. My body just was physically fatigued on a different day. And then I just had a business obligation on another day. So I rested for 3 days out of 100 days. So 97 days, I was grinding every day, literally grinding every day, literally grinding every day, literally grinding every day.
With 100 excuses, 100 reasons why you couldn't do it that day or shouldn't do it that day, but you kept on going, kept on grinding.
Kept on going. There was so many days where I just wanted to just quit.
The weather's not right. I don't feel right. I'm in a bad mood. I got too much work to do.
It's snowing. It's raining. I don't feel like getting up early. I don't feel like staying up late. I don't feel like going in when it's dark and leaving when it's dark. Excuses. But excuses are tools of incompetence used to build monuments to nothingness, and those who specialize in utilizing these tools will seldom be able to accomplish anything.
Wow.
And so I can't make excuses. I cannot make excuses. So in spite of my heartaches, in spite of my pains, in spite of my physical fatigue, my body feel like it's breaking down, but it's just mind over matter. I said, no, I'm completing my 100-day challenge no matter what. I had people to tell me, well, just rest today. And I said, no, this is my 100-day challenge, and I will do 500 miles in 100 days no matter what.
Wow.
And in many cases, that was in addition to my walking on my job or my addition to cutting the grass, in addition to my other social endeavors that I had to do. That was additional 5 miles in the gym, 5 miles on my Fitbit, 5 miles, tracking, in my log every day. So in some cases I did 10 miles. In some cases I did 15 miles. In some cases I did 20 miles.
Wow.
But every day, minimum at the gym or on the track or on my walking trail, 5 miles every day.
That's great.
100 days, 100 days. And I dropped some significant weight, even doing that, and I've dropped nearly 100 pounds.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
congratulations.
And I'm still dropping. I'm still dropping.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. That's great.
So I want to attribute that to number one, that 100-day challenge. I wouldn't have thought about that unless Dr. Thomas put that out there. The way he did. He didn't make me do it how he did it. He just threw a branch out there, and I just ran with it. And so
influence, that leadership is influence, and he's someone that you've allowed to speak into your life and influence.
Yes. He influenced me and impacted me in a major way. And I hope to one day to be able to meet him and thank him personally and to work with him on other endeavors, because he has truly blessed my life richly, as well as my kids' lives at school.
That's great. Well, tell us what you're working on right now and what you're excited about once you complete your doctorate, and then we'll wrap it up with a couple funny questions. But tell us what you're working on right now, or what you're excited about after you complete.
I'm excited about getting my life back.
Yeah.
I'm in the process of working on my chapter 4 and my chapter 5 for my dissertation. So I will be wrapping that up in the first quarter of 2018. And then my graduation will be at the halfway point of 2018. But I will have already successfully defended in the first quarter. But we'll be able to celebrate throughout the whole entire year.
Yeah.
For completing a doctorate. But I'm looking forward to being able to impact the world on a larger scale, because my time will open up even more so, because I won't be restricted to my research. I won't be restricted to my computer. I won't be restricted to being in the books 24/7, as I oftentimes are currently.
Yeah.
And so I'll be able to fellowship with family and friends more, as well as give back to my community, give back to my city, give back to my state, give back to my country, and give back to the world. Ultimately, uh, I just want to make a difference. And
Yeah.
so being able to make a difference and not necessarily be restricted to academia is a blessing. It's a blessing. And so I just want to give. I just want to give. I want to continue on my weight loss journey.
Mm-hmm.
I want to reach out to some other people who may be struggling with weight loss, and encourage them, because as a coach, as a professional, uh, you have to sometimes coach yourself
Oh yeah. Oh,
in order to reach others. And so,
absolutely.
in the process of me coaching uh, myself, I'm able to inspire others. I've been inspiring others through Fitbit challenges. I've been inspiring others at the YMCA. I've been inspiring others through my church. I've been inspiring others through my school district. I've been inspiring others throughout this city, throughout this country, just take a healthy approach uh, to live their life. And so I just want to make a difference, whether it's in the school district, whether it's in the community. I just want to make a difference wherever I am in life and in society. I just want to make a difference.
That's so good. Well, thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule to your full schedule of making a difference in the lives of students and in the lives of those that you work with, and those all around your life. I know you're part of multiple organizations that are impacting lives. So thank you for doing that. I do want to. We'll close out with some rapid fire funny questions and get your responses here. So here are the rapid fire questions I like to end with. What's the last thing you watched on TV, and why'd you choose to watch it?
Oh man, the last thing I watched on TV, I know that I'm only 37 years old, but sometimes I like to go old school.
Okay.
And I watched The Little House on the Prairie,
Oh, come on.
ironically speaking.
Little House on the Prairie. Was this
Yeah,
on Netflix or
no, it's
no?
actually on one of the local cable channels.
There you go.
And I chose to watch The Little House on the Prairie simply because that TV show gives so many life lessons and implications towards family, towards social skills, towards conflict resolution, towards people skills, towards uh, development, towards working together collaboratively, collectively,
Wow.
communities from other cultures, although in many cases, the people didn't represent my diverse background. However, during that time period, it was not necessarily as diverse in that community.
Yeah.
So, but although it was not diverse in that community, there was still diversity that took place within each and every episode from when you watched it with a diverse lens.
Yeah.
And so I think kids, even today, who may have never seen The Little House on the Prairie, can glean something just by watching it. They may not get into it, because I didn't get into it as a kid. But as I look back and see the things that were being taught from a family structure, because in a lot of cases, you know, families don't have meals together at the table. In a
Mm,
lot of cases, families don't have the mother and the father in the home. In a lot of cases, people come in single family households or multiple family households. And so the family structure has been broken.
yeah.
And so because the family structure has been broken, in many cases, you lose the authentic family dynamics. And
Yeah.
so I was very appreciative to be able to glean and to watch uh, The Little House on the Prairie. Yeah.
There you go. Now this is rapid fire, Christopher. So we're supposed to be shorthand. You can't help but teach, can you? You're a teacher. Teachers are going to teach, right?
I apologize.
No problem. I'm just messing with you. All right. Here's one. So American Idol is coming back on ABC. So you get to sing one song for the world on American Idol. What song do you sing?
Great is thy faithfulness.
Great is thy faithfulness. All right. How about this one? We just passed Christmas. A 6-year-old child asks you if Santa Claus is real. What do you say?
What do you think?
That's what you say?
I would ask the kid, what do you think? What do you believe? And then they would give me their response. And then I would say, no matter what, never stop believing.
Wow. There you go. That's spoken like a true coach, turning the question into a question.
Yeah.
What would your pet say about you if we asked them for a reference?
He is the most wonderful, loving, and loyal person I have ever met.
That's great. That's great. And then last one, would you rather fight a horse-sized duck or 100 duck-sized horses?
I would rather fight a horse-sized duck.
All
Just
right.
give me one smooth stone, like David when he slayed Goliath, versus fighting 100.
Well, there you go. That is Christopher A. Jones, an introduction to him. Thank you to the listeners. Thank you, Mr. Jones, soon to be Dr. Jones, for being on the podcast today. And we will look forward to the many more trainings and podcasts that we do together in collaboration. Thank you so much, my friend. And you have a fantastic day.
Thank you for the opportunity, and I look forward to sharing again with the Drew T. Jackson listeners, and look forward to many future endeavors. And thank you for being a friend and a confidant to me.
Absolutely. Absolutely.